I'm the last obstacle before dinner, so this is a very hazardous position to be in. And I was also given 3 minutes. And I think, one guy at least was making a clock on who was going to be out of that the most, and I won't even mention your name, Dave. But I do want to thank the Academy. I want to thank the governor. I've always wondered whether we had the route runner in the State House, but it's nice to have you here, Diana. I think it's a wonderful addition to everything that goes on. And Dave, you and your colleagues at BMO are great to have hosted this whole thing. So we got to get the bankers ahead of some of the lawyers. We're getting outnumbered, you know. And Eden, I mean, what Sam didn't make, Sam Skinner did correctly advise that we were together. Oh, good Lord, that was in you know how many years ago? 57 years? But he didn't tell you what we were doing. We were learning how to program the processing of punch cards. How many of you here even know what a punch card is? You know, this has gone from state of the art to ancient history in our lifetime, Sam. There's a moral there somewhere. I still keep them for note cards. They're very good. You know, that's about the only thing that I know. I didn't come to prepare to give a lot of the thanks that I should, because I have a depth to a lot of people, but the women of my life have been absolutely extraordinary. My bride of 64 years, or 60 years, I ought to keep the count straight. Yeah. My sister, who's made extraordinary efforts to be here today, and I greatly appreciate that. I want you to know that. And some of you know that the pride of my life is 3 daughters who each are doing much, much more than I ever would have hoped to accomplish. And so Jennifer, Heather, and Robin, this award is really for you and a patronymic to what you can accomplish. And I have a couple of other reasons to be thankful for. You see, the only other statewide recognition that I received in my life was, I'm not sure you're ready for this, I was the 1953 Illinois State High School Latin champion. That was rightly characterized as somewhat akin to being defense minister for the Vatican. And it's taking now 64 years to get something to replace that. So I am unbelievably humbled and appreciative. But like Sam, I grew up in Springfield and grew up with all things Lincolnian, the home, the law office. I would go to his law office, Eden Honest. And you grow to admire the man greatly when you're surrounded by all the things that he has accomplished and how he came up with no formal education to be the eloquent leader of a nation in crisis. It was absolutely phenomenal. And there were a few observations that reach mystical proportions. I do not believe he was born in a one-room wooden cabin that he built with his own hands. But I do believe that the Lincoln Trail, to which Sam also referred, was 21 miles that he would travel as the postmaster for New Salem. And the fact was that the first time he traveled that, it was presumably to return a 3-cent overcharge. And this was Honest Abe in the epitome. And one of the joys of my life is, unlike Sam, my father got transferred out of Springfield a year before I headed to the Lincoln Trail to advance in Boy Scouts. So, Sam, I never made it with cocoa or without. I failed. Oh no! I'm past my prime on that one, if I ever had one. But you know, my final word of appreciation is to share this panel with such distinguished people, and I can't stop but acknowledge that I have a special regard for one of my fellow laureates, Eden Martin. He is really one of the unbelievable forces for good. You heard him in one of his lighthearted moments this morning in his earlier. In his response, he's never hesitated. Well, you don't believe me? I'll be happy to expand on that with lots of experiences. But he speaks with a passion and a sincerity that is absolutely inspiring to those of us that have ever dealt with him, and does not hesitate for a moment to speak truth to power. And I think that he had a lot of words that were well worth saying. I've sworn off lawyers' jokes on his behalf, but I did tell him that I would do a survey and find out how many lawyers' jokes there are in the world. Have you all seen some of the survey? We've gone to great lengths to establish it. There are only 3. The rest are true stories. But, of all the causes that he had championed, there was none more on his mind than the subject of education. And I happen to have had exactly the same quote, Frank, that you did. What Lincoln said as a young man, that he viewed it as the most important subject with which we as a people could be engaged. I certainly believe that. I hope we will all rededicate ourselves to coming up with fair and equitable funding for our kids. They deserve it very, very badly, and for meaningful choice. And I thank you very much. This is a very humbling award, and I'm deeply appreciative. If I were as worthy as I am appreciative, I would be a much better man than I am. Thank you very much.